Welcome back to NGMI, the show where we talk about lessons that we learned in building our very real accounting business called Amarlo, and share those lessons with you people who might also be building businesses so that you can learn the things that we've learned already along the way. Hit that subscribe button and ding the notification bell, and then you know, just give me some love.
Whether you like it or not, press the like button.
Please. Today we're talking about money. Money is one of my favorite things to talk about because I am an accountant. Run an accounting business, so I talk about money every single day for 8 hours a day, 24 hours a year with lots of different people. Some people are making a little bit of money, some people are making a lot of bit of money, but all those people are the same. They're just people. There is one question about money that lots of new small business owners ask themselves when they're starting their first business, whether it's an actual business or just a side hustle, whatever size business you start. And that question is, how much money do I need to actually start my business? And a lot of people, they're pretty good about this. I mean, they like to know how much money they need to start their business before taking this big leap of faith. So they sit down and they open up a spreadsheet, start listing out expenses and money that they might be spending, and then all of a sudden it's 2 in the morning and they're sweating and they're confused why they're so anxious about starting this business they haven't even started yet. A lot of people experience that. And then there are some people out there who just choose to kick life in the teeth and just go for it. They don't even care how much money they need to make it happen. They'll just blaze some trails. I think there's a lot of confusion from the people who think that they need to know exactly how much money that they are going to start their business with, as well as some, stupidity from the people who think they're just gonna kind of figure it out along the way. There's a happy medium, one that doesn't need to keep you up at night stressing about how you're gonna make ends meet. So there are 3 things that we need to talk about I actually forgot my 3 points. There are 4 main points that I think you need to consider when you calculate how much money you need to start a business, and they extend far beyond just the initial point of starting a business. There are 4 main points we need to do. There are 4 main, I just spit. There are 4 money you actually need to make There are 4 main points. Business that actually, when it comes to, god damn it, we need to calculate how much money we actually need to get this thing off the ground, project how much we're going to make, identify how much we need to live off of, and then make a transition eventually into actually living off of it. And there are probably plenty of other things that you need to consider along the way, but if you're asking yourself how much money do I need initially to actually get something started, it's probably less than you think. Okay, so when it comes to calculating how much money you need to actually start a business, I think for a lot of small businesses, the number is surprisingly low. And by surprisingly low, I mean it's 0. It costs nothing. And I think that's because most people overcomplicate how much money it actually takes to start a business. If you can actually just go out and sell the product or service you want to supply, get a first customer, you've got a business. You're starting, you're making money already. Now, there are lots of stipulations to that. If you're starting a service business, it's a lot easier to start from nothing because you're just really investing your time. But if you have a product that you're selling, you actually need to buy the product, make the product, or supply the product in some way in order to actually make any money. Now, I will say, as your business grows, you get beyond just one customer, you start developing what your service or product actually looks like over the long run, you're going to want to invest in things like legal protection, contracts, LLCs, insurance, payroll, bookkeeping, accounting, a website, marketing, all of the different aspects that go into running a business. So in order to start your business, in order to take that first step of calculating how much money you need to spend, sit down and identify how you're going to get your first customer, and then identify the expenses associated with that first customer. You don't really need to have any other information besides that, because once you have one customer and you start making a little bit of money, then you can start investing in the other ancillary things that come with starting a business. When we started our accounting firm, we started it with $3,000, and that was our bank account for just the beginning. We used that money to pay for lots of things. Initially, with that $3,000, we invested it in legal protection, setting up an entity, getting insurance, doing contracts, getting a website going, and actually starting to build out a brand. But the main product that we were working off to begin with, and the first customer that we used, we were just using QuickBooks, which is about $100 a month or less or more, depending on the plan that you're on. And then our time, it was just managing the amount of time that we were putting into that first customer. We'd collect payment for free via PayPal. We didn't have any marketing because we were just focused on getting one customer to begin with. And that was the beginning. Once we focus on acquiring our first customer, we can then identify how much money we're going to make in the long run by projecting out how much our expenses are going to grow or how our complexity is going to grow over time. We have our first customer, we're making a little bit of money, not a lot, but a little bit, just like a little teeny tiny bit. Now that we have that first customer, we can actually understand what it takes to serve them and then how to serve several other customers just like them. And then it becomes an easy game of understanding exactly what your costs are per your customer and then just growing that from there. The hardest part about growing your business in the very beginning is actually finding those first few customers. It's not about having the money right, or it's not about having enough to kind of keep the runway going if you're starting a very small micro business to begin with. It's really just about investing in the people that you think are going to be the best fit for being your customers.
Totally unrelated meme break.
Gotta get.
Totally unrelated meme break.
You can then invest in things like a website, insurance, contracts, legal formations, getting an accountant, getting a bookkeeper, getting a tax guy, getting all the things in order that you need to actually start growing your business and stay in compliance. Now, as your business begins to grow and you begin to acquire more customers and you start to make a little bit of money, it's important to understand where you're at along the way. You should be reviewing your financial data, looking at that information every single month in order to understand how your business is doing. Is it actually successful? Are you spending less than you make? Are you making a profit in the end? That way you can identify how to reinvest that profit in order to continue to grow the business. But eventually, a lot of small business owners want to make the transition from doing something full-time for somebody else to actually working in their own business full-time. And that is where things start to get a little bit more costly, a little bit more difficult. If you were planning to just jump into running your business full-time from the beginning, you would need to understand how much money you actually need to live off of in order to make that work. That's why it's incredibly important to keep a personal budget in order to identify how much money you need to make in order to live your life. Once you understand how much money you need to bring home every month, you can then transition that into understanding what your business needs to make in order to support that. With your calculations and your projections of how your business is going to grow over time, you can begin to see at what point you can actually make the transition. Once your business is making enough money to actually support your lifestyle and support you pulling from the business and still sustaining that kind of growth as well as paying taxes, it's important to actually make the jump. And if you thought that starting your business and going from 0 customers to 1 customer, finding sales and growing the revenue into something that's actually sustainable was hard, taking the leap into doing that full time and relying on that completely, that's a whole nother game. However, if you have the data to show that your business is growing every single month and that taking out a certain amount of money in order to support your lifestyle is not going to harm anything, you can do it. But if you feel like that decision is too risky or it might not be the right one, it could be because you don't have enough data to support that decision. Making a transition from part-time small business owner to full-time small business owner is always going to be a leap of faith. But really, at the end of the day, that's what it comes down to, is the risk that you're willing to take on. Whether you start your business with $50,000 or $0, you're still taking on some kind of risk, starting something new from scratch. Yes, it's important to calculate the amount of money you need to actually get started. It's important to project how much you can make with the growth that you're seeing from your first few customers. It's to identify how much money you need to live every month, and then to actually make that transition into running your business full time. But that doesn't mean that starting a new business isn't exciting or a fantastic opportunity to grow as a person and as just a professional. That's why we have people on YouTube that talk about building their own accounting companies and the lessons that they learn as they're building a small business along the way, so that you can learn better lessons about how to run your business or start a new business or whatever it is that you want to do, because we're all learning together. We're all learners, and that's what we're here for on NGMI. See you next week. Anyways, how's your day going? Good? I need new glasses.
Oh, not good.
When I first went to
Really?
get these glasses,
I'm pretty sure the eye doctor
mic
scammed
working?
me.